ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ सप्तमोऽध्यायः। In the last few shlokas of chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna said that both my para prakriti and apara prakriti, they are the womb for all the beings. All the beings come from them. And my para prakriti is superior than the apara prakriti, and there is nothing else superior here more than my para prakriti. And Bhagavan Krishna said that how he is the essence of all the beings, and he gave some few examples. He said that I am the taste in water, the gandha of Prithvi, the smell of Prithvi, and he said that I am the bhala, the strength in a person who is strong. I am the intelligence in the person who is intelligent. And like this, many examples he gave, and I am all that he said. And he said that this Maya of me, which has three gunas, which is composed of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, is very difficult for an ordinary person to cross over. It will dilute that person entirely. But if a person take refuge in me, I will make him understand about the Maya, and he can cross over Maya very easily. And he said that people who are not devoted to me or associated with me in any way, they think that this Maya of mine is stay permanent, and they think that that is the Maya itself is the reality, and they are deluded by it. And he said that they are the lower men, people who have dull intellect. And in the next few shlokas, that is from the shloka 16, Bhagavan Krishna tell about the different type of bhaktas, and after a few shlokas, he tells about the different type of bhakti. And now in the shloka 16, Bhagavan Krishna tells about the different types of bhaktas. Chapter 7, shloka 16 of Bhagavad Gita. Chadurvidha bhajante maham jana suhridinojjuna artho jignasu artharthi jnani cha bharadakshabha. He's telling that all the bhaktas are noble men only, because the people who are not my bhaktas, they think that this Maya itself is the reality, and they are not noble. But all my bhaktas are noble, and there are four different types of bhaktas. That is, they approach Bhagavan for different purpose, and they are benefited by that in different ways. So Bhagavan Krishna is telling that there are four types of bhaktas. They had come to me for four purpose. The first is the artha. Artha means one who is in distress, one who is in great worry or misery. At that time, we connect with Bhagavan. We go to Bhagavan for help. We ask Bhagavan that please help me. I am in this distress, and help me come out of this problem. When we are in distress, when those worry and sorrow and problems cloud our mind, when we connect with Atma, with Bhagavan, by any way, by through prayers, or it may be through japa or going to temples, if we go to that temple, or in any way if we connect with Bhagavan, then we reach that Atma, we connect with Atma, and from that depth of the mind, we get the solution for our problems. So that is the benefit of bhakti. If there is a problem, then definitely there will be a solution, but we are not aware of the solution because our mind is clouded with so many impressions. For example, if we are in a very crowded place, and when someone yells, maybe our friend call out our name, we will not hear it. Whatever with high pitch if they call, we will not hear it, because of that so many sound and disturbances are in between. Just like that, When we are in distress, we have so many thoughts. The first thought that comes to our mind is, why did this happen to me? What did I do for this to experience? Why did this happen to me? The next thing is, we accuse someone for our failure. This is the psychology of accusing is, we are not ready to accept our mistake, and we are not ready to take responsibility of our problems or our the failures. Until and unless we take responsibility for our problems, we cannot come out of it. Definitely there will be solution for that problem, but we have to search for that problem. When someone else gives us a solution that may or may not suit us, even the people who motivate us, they try to make our mind calm. Only in the calm mind the solution will pop up, or we will be aware of that solution. So, just like I said, in the crowded place, when our mind is crowded with the thoughts of lamenting, or the thoughts of lamentation, or the thoughts of accusation, then all this cloud our solution. We may not be able, or we may not be aware of the solution which is already there. So, connecting with Bhagavan makes our mind calm, and in that calmness, we will realize the solution, or we will go in one way that will be the path for our success. So, we will be able to come more superior than before. So, all the people who have met failure, they are coming out like that. Maybe they are may know it or may not know it. So the people who are in distress, they go to Bhagavan. And when they worship Bhagavan by any vigraha, or by the image, or the chaya pata, that is the picture we have in our puja rooms, or we may go to some calm temples, or we may go to some guru, they make our mind calm. And in that calm mind, the nature of the Atma, that real nature of the Atma is reflected, and by that intelligence, we will find the solution, or we will approach that person who gives us a solution. So, the people who come to me when they are in distress, there are so many types of distress: individual failures, the failure in our profession, personal life failures, some natural calamities, when everything will be settled, suddenly something will, nowadays floods are so common. So they just wipe off everything, what all we have, and one has to start from the beginning of life. So all these are the situations for distress, and a perfect example for the for this distress artha is the example of Gajendra Moksha. Gajendra was a very strong and a leader of that clan, that elephant, with all its relatives and friends in a big, with a big gang. It went to drink water in a lake, and there a crocodile was there. It is not none other than his own sins. It is said in Srimad Bhagavata that that Gajendra was a king, a Pandya king, in his last birth, and by some egoistic feeling, he didn't respect the Ahastya Muni who came that way, and so the sage Ahastya, he gave curse for that king, that you will be born in the next birth as a elephant. And because the elephant is proud of themselves, it has that strong determination and pride. So you will be born like that, and at that time, Mahavishnu will come and help you, and you will attain liberation. So all the curses of the rishis, they will end in a very good thing only. That is liberation only. So in this birth, that king was born as an elephant, and he went to drink water, and the crocodile in that lake who got hold of his one of his leg. So whatever way, in whichever way, all his relative elephants, or the elephants from that group, tried this Gajendra to bring out of the water, nothing worked out. So fed up, when now nothing helped. He tried a lot, nothing, because that crocodile was in the form of his sins. It got hold of him so tight. Nothing can be done. And so, at that stage of distress, when nothing could help a person, it is the call of Bhagavan that will definitely come to help anyone. And like that only, he called Bhagavan, and that hymn, Gajendra hymn, is very beautifully described in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a must to read for all because it's such a great hymn. That elephant, it expresses all its weakness and realizes that only Bhagavan is the final refuge. And Bhagavan comes to its rescue, and with his Sudarshana chakra, he let free his Sudarshana chakra, and that chakra opened the mouth of the crocodile, and the elephant came out so easily. So that's the perfect example of any being in distress. When we are in that distress, clouded, nothing could help us. At that time, when we worship Bhagavan, then definitely we will find a solution. And that's what in Mahabharata also the Kunti Devi asked Krishna, Krishna, give me a lot of problems, so I will connect with you. And that feeling is very great. In distress, we can very easily connect with Bhagavan. Initially, a lot of thoughts will come to us, but at one stage, we will become calm and we will connect with Bhagavan, and that gives us the solution or paves way for our success. So, that type of people, Artha, they come to me, Bhagavan Krishna is telling. The next type of people, bhaktas coming to Bhagavan, is Artharthi, that is who aim more in life, that is who want wealth or who want to possess something or who want the position or status, anything. So they want more. Already they have not lost anything. The people in distress, they are different. They have lost something. But the people who are arthati, they have not lost anything, but they want more wealth or more position or status. And we need not go to example anywhere in the scriptures. We ourselves are our own examples. And many times we have worshipped Bhagavan for the examination results, for job, for the wealth, for anything, for whatever little thing we want to have, we just go and worship Bhagavan. So they are next type of bhaktas. The third type of bhaktas are the jignasus. That is the people who have anxiety and a desire to know about Bhagavan. Because some people, they would have fed up with life. It need not be failure. Even after seeing so much of success, many people may think, oh, it's enough for me. So let me turn my life into spirituality. Just like an example I gave some videos back, the example of Alfred Ford. So in that middle of wealth and luxuries, some people, they want to know about Bhagavan. So they have that mumukshutva to know about Bhagavan. So they come to me, one type of bhaktas. And the fourth type of bhaktas are the jnanis. They are so great. They attain knowledge and they always connect with Bhagavan. Their devotion is very superior. And so these are the four types of bhaktas. So first is the bhaktas who are in distress. So they find their path for their life by connecting with Bhagavan. The next are the people who come to Bhagavan for wealth and prosperity. The next are the mumukshutvas, one who has that anxiety and interest to know about Bhagavan. And the last type is the people who are jnanis. They very well know about Bhagavan. They have connected with Bhagavan many times, and they are the another type of bhaktas. Now Bhagavan is comparing these bhaktas in the next shloka. Shloka 17 is Tesham jnani nityayuktaha yega bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani notyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. So Bhagavan here is telling that they all are noble people, men only. But among all them, Jnani is very dear to me. Why? Because his bhakti is nitya yuktaha, ever steadfast, always constant. What we do when we want some success in life, we go and do puja or worship Bhagavan. Or the people who are in distress, they worship Bhagavan. The distress is not common in life. Rarely one or two distress like that come. That maybe at least some people may have one or two, not more than that. So that is one thing. Only then we connect with Bhagavan intensely. The desires also, not it is not constant. That time only we connect. The next is the jignasu. They are beginners. They try to connect with Bhagavan. But the jnanis, they constantly, anything, whatever we do, that constant practice is very important, isn't it? Even when we practice any musical instrument or anything or any art or painting like that, if we practice for 1 month and leave it, then it will be of no use. Even that practice itself will be of no use. So anything to come up on how or to excel in it, we need constant practice. That's steadfast practice. So just like that, connecting with Bhagavan also should be constant. It must be ever steadfast. So a jnani has a steadfast bhakti. He is always connected with Bhagavan, and not only that, ekabhakti. Ekabhakti means his devotion is so pure, one-pointed devotion. Artha or Arthati, for what they worship Bhagavan, to get back all that what he has lost, or to find solution for his problems, or to attain wealth. So his devotion is divided. It is not for Bhagavan they all worship. To get something, they worship. To get high marks in an exam, the students worship. So their bhakti is divided, isn't it? But for a jnani, his ekabhakti, Bhagavan alone, he is that ultimate goal for him. So first thing is it is constant. Next is ekabhakti, whole devotion towards Bhagavan. By these two reasons, he is so dear to me. All the bhaktas, I like them. All the bhaktas are noble, but the jnani is special to me. He is very dear to me because he has constant devotion, steadfast devotion, and ekabhakti, one the whole devotion to me alone. He is not worshipping Bhagavan to attain anything or to get something else. He is worshipping Bhagavan for the sake of Bhagavan. In the next shloka, in the shloka 18, Bhagavan says, Udhara sarva evaite jnani twatmaiva me matam asthita sahi yuktatma mamevanuttamangatim. He says, all the people, all the four types of bhaktas are udhara, they are all noble. But the wise is different because he is connected with me more. He worships me as Antaratma. He doesn't worship me as I am external to him. So since he worships me from inside, he is connected with me and I am also connected with him. He is well established in me because he doesn't see me as different from him, and he is established in me, and he for him I am the supreme goal. A jnani, through his knowledge, he understands that Bhagavan is the Antaratma, and he doesn't feel that Bhagavan is outside him. At the same time, he feels that everything else is also Bhagavan. So the problem here, what we do is we worship the form of Bhagavan. When we worship him as a form, his form is different from our form. So that itself is the basic difference. We separate Bhagavan from us. He is our Antaratma. We cannot do anything without him, but we think that he is external to us. He is that form, and we worship him as a Vigraha, as a Chaya Pata, that is the image or a photo, picture of Bhagavan. We consider Bhagavan as external to him, but for a jnani, it is in him that Bhagavan is not different from him. So for Bhagavan also, that Bhakta is not different because Atma is non-dual and infinite. The Atma of Bhagavan is the same as the Atma of that Jnani. It is that Brahman which the Bhagavan itself is, and he is the Antaratma, and that the Jnani realizes it. The picture or the Vigraha of Bhagavan is the reflection or the imagination about Bhagavan who is in us. We exist in him. That's why Bhagavan said in the last few slokas, Sutre Maniganaiva, all of them are in me. Since we are in him, we do not realize his presence. For example, I am here, and if I see myself in front of a mirror, my image will be there. Since I have a form, I have a gross form, that image of me which is in the mirror will not be different from me. It will be exactly the same. But since Bhagavan doesn't have a form, he is that pure consciousness. The outside image of Bhagavan is not that entire reality. That pure consciousness we cannot see in front of us, we can only realize. He cannot be grasped by the senses. So the Vigraha or the form we worship, or the picture we worship, or the image we worship, we separate Bhagavan and we make Bhagavan in that finite form. We think that Bhagavan is that form alone and he remain in that place alone. So that is the difference between our bhakti and the bhakti of a jnani. But once when we close our eyes and worship, then automatically that form will go away from our mind for a second. We connect with Bhagavan in that depthness, in that intense bhakti. We connect with the reality. That's why when we worship Bhagavan intensely, we automatically close our eyes. So we connect with that real form, not form, that reality, and that's Bhagavan. And the jnani is always with that form, with that intense form of bhakti. We connect at times, but he is always there. So that's why for Bhagavan, he is very dear to him. And his bhakti is steadfast, and he is established in me, and Bhagavan is his supreme goal. To attain Bhagavan is his supreme goal. But we worship him for, many people worship him for wealth or for coming out of distress. But for a jnani, attaining him is his goal. Shloka 19, Bhagavan says, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prabhatyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Even that jnani who is well established in Bhagavan, Bhagavan is not different from him, and for him, Bhagavan is not external to him, he is in him. Even for that jnani, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, that is, after many janmas, after many births, he will attain me. Because he has to realize that Vasudeva Sarvamitam, that it is this Bhagavan who is his Antaratma, is everywhere. He's all pervading. So a jnani may not feel that difference between himself and other beings. For him, everyone is Vasudeva, or everyone is his Antaratma, his own self. Their form and mind may be different. Even the other beings like the animals or the insects, for a jnani, it is not different from him. It is his self itself, and that is Bhagavan. He sees Bhagavan everywhere. Vasudeva Sarvamidam has to realize it, and that may take time. Because all these are the evolution of the mind, isn't it? Definitely it will take time. Some people, they just rush for mukti. I don't think that is needed, because when we rush like that, we cannot enjoy that Jivan Mukti. We have to enjoy each and every step towards liberation and finally liberation. We have to first understand that this form, I am more than this form, and I have to go beyond that egoistic feeling of I, ahankara, and connect with the reality. Then one has to realize that I am this all, or all are in me. I am not different from Bhagavan, and Bhagavan is all pervading. This realization one must have. Only then he will attain mukti. So this may take time, and for even a great jnani, even a jnani who doesn't feel that Bhagavan is different from him, since he is well, even though he is well established in Bhagavan, even for him there might be many janmas. He has to take many births for perfect practice, constant meditation. And as Bhagavan said in the 6th chapter, a person, once he has connected with this knowledge, the next Janma also, the impressions of this knowledge will follow him. So there is no doubt and difficulty for him to continue with this knowledge. And in the next Janma also, he will practice this and realizes that Sarvamidam Vasudeva. But such a jnani is durlabha, very, very rare, Bhagavan itself says. So such jnani who think that other beings are not different from me, and one who see everyone as Bhagavan, is so durlabha, very rare. Bhagavan Krishna is telling in 5,000 years back itself, and what more to say of today's time. Now, Bhagavan Krishna in the next shloka, that is from shloka 20, Bhagavan Krishna is telling that different types of bhakti, different types of bhaktas, and now different types of bhakti. Kamaistaistairhridajnanaha प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया. Bhagavan Krishna is telling, because of the desires, our desires, we have many desires. Hridajnanaha, that desires veil or veil our wisdom. Even though a person has jnana, when that desire overcomes jnana, that jnana will fade away. It will hide that jnana. So what's the result of it? Taistai, that is this and that, this and by all this and that desires. Prabhatyante anya devataha, they approach different lords, different deities. They may be worshipping one deity. Because of the desires, they go to another deity. This is very common. We all have experienced it. We all have heard about it. People will go to one temple. Suddenly someone else will say, I went to this temple and that effect is very good. So they go switch over this temple and start going that temple. So they go to that temple. Sometimes they may get benefit. If not, they go to another temple, switch deities, switch temple. So they go to different people, because different temples, because their wisdom is hidden by the desire. And what's the problem in this is the different deities and different temples, they have different tam tam niyamata mastaya. They have different rites and different rituals in each temple they may follow. A person so far worshipping Mahavishnu, if he go to the Kali temple, the rituals and the rites will be entirely different. So that difference he will have to face. Different deities and different rites and nature of Bhagavan also will be different. So when their wisdom is hidden by desire, they take the decision, and sometimes they go to inferior way of worship also. Some people they worship Indra, some people they worship Mitra, Varuna. All these things are not bad, but one should not leave entirely the main worship and go towards it. That's the main concept behind the Bhagavan doing the Leela of lifting the Govardhanagiri, isn't it? When the Indra, when the people of that Mathura, when they didn't offer worship to Indradeva, he got angry and he poured rain. And Bhagavan saved all of them by lifting with his little finger the Govardhanagiri. So, like this, one should not always continuously shift in deities or shift the way of worship. Then we will not go to any destination. Even in our ordinary life, so one person will tell us to study this. The other one will come and tell us, for you, this one is suitable. Other one, I studied this, so this is suitable for you. The next one, if you study this, you will get job easily. So when we have so many people, of course, it is they will by nature they will give us advice only what is good for them. They will tell us. But if we go in each and every way, we will not reach the destination. So we have to take that decision. Just like that, our wisdom is veiled by desires, and we go and to switch deities often, and we follow different ways of worship. In the next shloka also, Bhagavan Krishna is continuing with this argument. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhayarchitumicchati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadamyaham. Yo, yo, yam, yam. Whoever, yam, yam means whichever form of a devata they worship. I make the faith in them more strong. Whatever and whichever devata they worship, that deity they worship, but they have to worship with faith. They should not just go and test it anyway. Some people may say that anyway it's on the way, let me go there and go off. Then they expect so many things from that deity. So this is not that type of faith. When one has complete faith in a deity, Bhagavan Krishna, through that deity, he will satisfy our desires, and he will make our faith very strong. So, whichever deity we worship, through that deity, Bhagavan makes our faith more strong. In the next shloka also, that is in the shloka 22 also, the same concept is described by Bhagavan. सतया श्रद्धया युक्तः तस्याराधनमीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयैव विहितान् हितान्. So Bhagavan Krishna is telling that whatever form of deity a person worship to attain any desire, Bhagavan Krishna, through that deity, he satisfies his desire. So what he thinks that this deity satisfied my desire, but it is actually Bhagavan Krishna. Through that deity, he satisfies his desire. Because in this loka, nothing else is there other than Bhagavan as Brahman. So through that deity, he will satisfy his desire. So the bhakta will feel that this form of worship has given me tremendous benefit, and he will have a faith in Bhagavan more and more. That's what he said, I make it more and more strong. So through that deity, Bhagavan Krishna, he gives him the benefits or the reward for his bhakti. So for him, he feel more and more confident and have a faith in that form of worship or the way of worship. Actually, we decide a form or we prefer a form of God according to our nature. When we have sattvic nature, dominating sattvic nature, then definitely we'll go for that sattvic way of worship and the sattvic form of God. If we have the rajasic nature, then to us, the rajasic form of Bhagavan will be very dear to us, and the rajasic way of worship, for example, when the warriors they go to war, they worship Ma Kali and they offer blood and flesh to Ma Kali. So that aggressive way of worshipping Ma Kali, they have faith that they will win that war. But a person who has a sattvic nature may not feel this type of worship comfortable. The same with the tamasic nature also. The tamasic way of worship is a little bit inferior or a lower form of worship, because the people they worship the bhutas and pretas also. And some people they worship only the ancestors. Ancestral worship is very good and it is needed, absolutely needed. But when we think that that ancestors is all everything, then that our way of understanding Bhagavan is definitely wrong. So a person select that form and the way of worship according to his own nature. So, as I said, it is that antaratma. The form is we give a form for that antaratma, and we keep that worship external because our mind has become gross. By time, our mind has become gross. So we think that Bhagavan is external. Definitely, this type of worship is needed for the initial stages of a bhakta. If you are a beginner, then this type of bhakti is absolutely needed. But when we evolve and when we grow up in bhakti, we have to turn internal, leaving that form outside. That's what happened to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa itself. He thought that Kali is, that by worshipping Kali, he will attain moksha, and he thought that Kali is his mother, devotee, friend, everything. And Kali itself, she came and said to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa that you have to take another guru and worship that infinite form. Then only you will merge with Brahman. So we have to grow up in bhakti also. But any form of worship, when it is intense, that's why I said when we see the form and worship, our mind will be fixed in the form only. When for a second, even before standing before the form, when we close our eyes and connect with that Atma, then we merge with Bhagavan for a second. If we worship the external form alone, then we are separated one. So instead of worshipping or the way of worship be inferior, one must go to that supreme stage of bhakti and must select that supreme form of Bhagavan. In the next shloka, that is in shloka 23, Bhagavan Krishna says, Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhaktya yanti mamapi. The problem with this inferior way of worshipping is when we worship the inferior form or the finite form, even Bhagavan Vishnu, if we worship him as only that form in the temple, we will not understand his universal nature, his real nature. We must understand him as our Antaratma, and that Antaratma is nothing other than Brahman. If we worship a finite form, or if our way of worship is that lower way of worship, then our mind will be limited. And that's the root cause of all the problems regarding religion. And nowadays, each community has a temple, each colony has a temple, a particular caste, they have a temple, family temples. So all these are not bad, but one should not limit with that. And one set of people is not allowed to go to another temple, and the way they worship, the others should not disturb that way of worship. So if we have uniformity in the way of worship, then at least we can connect with the infinite more quickly. But each temple, they have a way of worship. They will not accept the other way of worship. So all these dilute a person completely. And in Hinduism, there are so many deities and devatas. So, if we go to that way of worship, then our mind will be limited. We cannot expand our mind. That is very important. So, for that purpose only, Bhagavan Krishna is telling that our bhakti should be devoted to one form of God. It must be steadfast, and we must understand Bhagavan as our inner self, Antaratma, then it is more nobler than worshipping Bhagavan as the Antaratma than worshipping him in any form or in any temples. So that's what Bhagavan Krishna says. The benefit he get anyway, but when he make Bhagavan say that Bhagavan is only in that form, then he is restricting his form as well as restricting his mind as well as the nature of Bhagavan. If we think that Bhagavan is only in that faraway temple, then we are restricting his nature. One must understand the nature of Bhagavan, his infinite nature, and that is very important. And one, the sattvika way of worship will help a person to expand their mind. Mana vikasati, the mind should expand. Only then we can attain liberation or we can know the reality. So these are the points explained by Bhagavan Krishna in the last few shlokas, that is from shlokas 16 to 23, chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. Now I will take a break and continue with the rest of the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita in my next video. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shri Vijayorbhuti Dhruvani Tirmatirmama Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.